All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to an all new episode of the DTI Takeover Show here on Total Entertainment Radio. I am your host, Miss Kayla. As always, y'all know I'm always here highlighting and spotlighting some of our dope business people, entrepreneurs out here in the city doing their thing, just making their stamp on the world. So this young lady is no different. I have Miss Anaya Phil here with us today. Anaya has her platform called News with Naya. How are you today?
Hi, Kayla. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. All right, so before we get into what News with Naya is, let everybody know just a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you just introduced me, my name is Ania Felder. My family is from Detroit, Michigan. My family, both my parents primarily grew up on the west side. Most of my family still lives on the west side, but they're kind of all over Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was young, about 2008, 2009, I had moved with my parents and my older sister out here to Belleville, Michigan, where I've started my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 21 years old currently. So really, I grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
I still went out to the city usually monthly growing up to see my cousins and my relatives and grandparents and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still familiar with the city, but for the most part, I spent all my life out here.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up out here, grew up going to our lake events, all of our festivals, the Wayne County Fair we have out here. And I like Belleville. It's a pretty peaceful area. But the one major thing we lack out here is local journalism.
Mm.
We have a newspaper called the Belleville Independent that I would write for
Okay.
sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
occasionally, during my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
So about last year, because I'm going into my junior year now.
Okay.
So 2024, 2025 era. But other than our paper, and we do have a Today magazine out here, but other than those two things, we don't really have any news sources. Like all
Mm-hmm.
the other papers that were around before that recently shut down. But our the last one that shut down was only about 11 to 10 years ago in 2015. So and I went to Wayne County. I just
Mm-hmm.
graduated from Wayne County this June, actually.
Okay, congratulations.
College. Yeah, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
the one I went to, they didn't have a journalism program, unfortunately. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of put me in a tough spot because I'm like, well, I want to go to school for journalism and I'm transferring to Eastern and that's what my major is. But I don't have any journalism experience while I'm at community college. And
Okay.
I wanted to apply for a lot of internships. And all the internships I wanted to apply for, they said you had to have experience in the field. So I'm like, well,
Mm.
that. So then the first step I took was volunteering for my paper,
Okay.
right? And I would write little feature stories like about shops opening. I had even wrote a story about a woman who walked, I believe, 100 and maybe like 70 miles from on foot on from France to Spain.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
crazy.
crazy. Okay.
Yeah, and then from there, I joined NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. And I got paired up with some mentors, and I got to meet a lot of cool people in broadcasting. And
Good.
they had recommended that I start my own podcast. So
Hmm.
that's how we started News with Nia, local Belleville, since we don't have any broadcasting stations in Belleville, really. And we're
Hmm.
at risk with our local paper shutting down, and we don't know if it's going to stay open. So
Wow. Okay.
it was kind of a lot
You
off
said,
the bat.
but you have a journey. No, 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 no. You just explain your journey for everybody. I want to kind of rewind a little bit. What made you just even decide journalism was your passion, was your field that you wanted to get into?
Well, it actually took me a while to come to that conclusion
Hmm.
because growing up, I don't know, this I kind of just always wanted to be on TV or in media. I
Hmm.
didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something media related.
Hmm.
Like I always liked watching the BET Awards, and I always was that kid that would keep up with like celebrities and stuff. And I'll be telling my friends and stuff. And they'd be like, "Why are you telling me this?" In like
Yeah.
elementary school. And at one point, I did want to be a singer, but I
You
realized that
can sing. Pause. Wait a minute. You can sing.
no, but I want to be a singer because I really like listening to music.
Okay.
I wish I could, but that wasn't really the route for me.
Hmm.
And I just always really liked reading, watching movies, and I would always really internalize everything I would watch. Like I was kind of, I was like a little bit nerdy as a kid because
Hmm.
like during the summer or all year round, I used to just like really like doing research on everything that I liked, like video games, books, like just in depth research. And my parents kind of were questioning like, "Why are you doing this?"
You like, I
And
just want to know. Like, I want the
yeah, like, I
information.
just want to know. And I always grew up asking the questions. Like I was always that one kid that would ask kind of questions that were
You
like,
asked all the questions.
yeah, because like I always ask my dad things, and he would be like, "Can you please Google this?" And he'd be like, "You can just Google this stuff," and I'm like, "Well, I want you to tell me."
Right. Because you should know,
So
Dad. Like, why you can't tell me? Let me know.
yeah, and I would like write reports. Not teachers wouldn't even make me do this on my own. I would just have these little notebooks growing up, like diaries or just journals, and I would just like to write about what happened to me that day, or I would just write about every book or movie that I like to like watch, and I would just write like little in depth reports about it. So then around the time I was like 7th, 8th grade, about
Mm-hmm.
13 journalism, I was a freshman when COVID hit.
Okay.
So around that time, like 8th grade, 9th grade, I started 13, 14, I started thinking about going into journalism. And at first I just wanted to write because
Yeah.
that was around the time where, in school they started teaching you how to write essays and do proper research.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
realized that I was already doing that and I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just talking to my grandpa, and he was just because I was telling him I was always really torn because I really like fashion and makeup too. So
Yeah.
I was really torn between if I wanted to grow up to be a makeup artist or be a journalist. And he was like, "Well, you're really good at writing and speaking and reading, so you should do journalism." And he was like, "We don't live in California; we live in Michigan, so no, don't become a makeup artist."
Right. That's valid. All right. That's hilarious. Okay. So then that's kind of where you was like, because you, from the sound of you've already kind of been doing it.
I kind of
Or
already had those
you've
skills.
already been
I
doing it.
didn't know what to transfer them into
Got
because
you.
when I was in elementary and middle school, elementary, I don't really teach you much about journalism. You just learn how to
Right.
read and write. And then by the time I got to middle school, usually they might have a journalism program, but mine did not, unfortunately. So the best I
Mhm.
could do was take like debate and creative writing. And I would take those every year, and I just really liked them. So those were kind of like soft launching me into journalism, and I didn't realize that at
Mhm.
the time. And I would take it with my friends, and they just hated it. They did not like it.
Well, that's all right. So what do you think is it about just researching and digging into stuff that you think is really got you like I'm hooked on this, like, because that's what I hear, like I love just the research of it.
I just really, it's just out of curiosity. 'Cause I just want to
Yeah.
know things. And it's like, I guess I don't, I do have a deeper reasoning for wanting to know things, but it's just, I just kind of want to know everything. Like, it doesn't take much for something to spark my interest. Like, I could see
Mhm.
something on the news and I'll just immediately want to know more about it. And I'll start doing research or especially like topics that really affect people. Like
Mhm.
recently with the job market and internships, like that's something I've been struggling to get, particularly in journalism. I've done an
Mhm.
internship before, but it wasn't journalism related. But I know a lot of people with being laid off, and I know a lot of kids around my age struggling to get internships because so many jobs are being cut now. So I had spent like the past month doing research on the job market. Or I'll do research on stuff like why people are going back to school more and why people are switching careers. So it's
Yeah.
anything that really affects people, I always just like learning about because I kind of want to learn like, well, how can I maybe try to change that situation for myself or other people, or how can
Right.
it be changed, or just simply like, well, why is it like that?
Right. Ain't nothing wrong. I think it's refreshing that you said you're 21.
Yes.
So it's refreshing that at 21 that you want to gain the knowledge that a lot of us need to research. A lot of you see social media, you hear something, you just go with it. You just post it.
And
You
I think
just
that's the problem
there's
now.
no fact check. There's none of that. So I think it's dope that you already like, no, let me dig into it. Let me find the facts.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem too, 'cause especially with me growing up, like social media and technology, it wasn't how it was now to this extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
But definitely, like I'd say we've reached a point in society where it's like you get punished for asking questions or just wanting to know more why. Because like
Mm-hmm.
it'll be something simple, like you could call somebody and you'll like maybe a secretary at the front desk where it's their job to tell you things. It'll be like, well, why didn't you look it up? And then you look it up and the stuff will be wrong. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's why I asked you because you know that if I look it up, it's probably going to be
That's why
wrong.
I had the question.
Like I
That's,
think too, we live
yeah.
in a society, like you're saying, where everyone just takes everything they see online at face value and they don't question it at all. And it's
Mm-hmm.
getting to the point where like it could be stuff where it's just clearly maybe common sense or reasoning to not believe it, and they still do.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is
Mhm.
they get so hooked onto it that when you try to tell them like, well, that's not true and show them this, it's like they don't want to
It's
believe
a
it.
whole debate. Like it's an argument at this point. I'm just like I've never seen so many individuals argue about stuff that's we don't even know if it's true. Like
Yeah.
like going at it, losing friendships, like really getting into it with people over things that we don't even know hasn't even been even the individual that they could be talking about or the situation they could be talking about. It's the furthest thing from what reality is. It's just but what we perceive and what we see on social media, we take it and run with it.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And that's another reason why I really want to go into journalism because
Mhm.
at this point, like growing up, I'll tell people like, "Oh, I want to be a journalist." Like
Yeah.
middle school and high school, and they'll be like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that because it's a dying industry." But I'm like, but
Mm.
technically, everything you look at online, people like you guys starting their online radio platform or me starting a podcast, that still
Yeah.
is journalism. I
Yeah.
think just the problem is a lot of people are getting into it and they don't really have the credentials or at least want to take the effort to do research on things,
Yep.
say a lot of things that aren't true, or they might just more often than not purposely say things because they know people are going to believe it and they know it's not true. And then it's the
Mhm.
whole thing where it's kind of like a cult.
Yep, that good old rage bait, that clickbait. I don't get it. I don't get it. So in Bellevue, what is your goal? Like how far are we trying to take this journalism? Like are we trying to be
Well,
on the news? Are we trying to have our own like syndicate? Like what is the goal here?
for me, my goal is to definitely become a broadcast reporter. I wanted to start off doing print journalism at first when I was
Mhm.
like middle school when I first came to that revelation. But then as I got older, I would say by the time I started college 3 years ago in 2023, then I kind of realized like I'd rather be on TV because I like writing, but one, newspapers and magazines, unfortunately, they're starting to fade. And then
Yep. Yep.
two, with us being more like in social digital age, I think it really makes more of a difference for people to like see you and hear you rather than just to read about it.
Mhm.
There'll be a lot of times where like I'll write things and even like I'll read them, and it's interesting, but it's just not the same as if someone was saying it to my face.
Right. Right.
Or like you can see their body language or like their attitude towards it.
Mhm.
Because I could write anything, and it can be easier to manipulate that way. Like,
Mhm.
anyone can write anything, but if you actually have a face-to-face interview like what we're doing now, you can kind of see
Right.
like how is she responding to the questions? Is she telling the truth based on her body language and her facial
Mhm. I like that. I like that. So, what are you currently reporting? So you have your news with Naya, right? What is it that we can look forward to when we tune in to news with Naya? What kind of information are we getting?
Generally, I try to do it weekly.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I haven't really been keeping up to that end of the bargain so far this spring because it was my last semester of college before graduating.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna try to switch it to be at least twice a month with me going to university. But usually, what you can find from it is just local news around Belleville. So here in Belleville, we have a lot of events. Like we really like to party here.
Okay.
No, a lot of people like growing up, my family in Detroit, like they will look at us and they'd be like, Belleville was so boring. But we have a lot of stuff we do out here that people
Hmm.
don't realize. And that's kind of why I started because I realized like, oh, we have all these events and nobody's talking about it.
Mm.
Like we have a very social community. Like we used to have this thing called the Strawberry Festival, but now that's Lake Fest every year. Usually people, especially during the summer, people get out, they go on their boats, or we'll have stuff like Winterfest,
Hmm.
or we have like during the summer definitely like we have weekly concerts every Thursday. Every third Thursday of the month, we have networking events where our small businesses will where like they'll have things where it's kind of like a boardwalk
Okay.
where you get this card and your goal is kind of to go to each of the shops and buy something, and if you
Hmm.
get a stamp on all your cards, then you get a ticket and you win some sort of a raffle maybe.
Hmm.
And then with our school district, Van Buren Public Schools, they have a lot of stuff also, like for the kids. Like we'll have skate nights, or we'll have like just family nights where they come in, movie nights.
Hmm.
And then, of course, traditional school dances. But we
Yeah.
have like a lot of little events, especially during the summer. And it's like, because we're not really on the news, people don't really know about these
I'm
things.
listen. I don't know anything about Bellevue. I'm not even going to sit here and act like I do. I have no clue what happens out there. So that's why I'm listening. Like, what does
Like
happen?
we have the air show that happens every year out here
Okay.
during the summer. So it would have probably just passed maybe last week, and that's pretty much to top off most of them. But
Mm-hmm.
We really do have a lot of small celebrations and gatherings here, but you don't really see it because it's not on the news, and we're such
It's
a
not.
small community. And
Yeah.
I kind of just thought like, well, people should know more about it.
Right.
So that's why I started the podcast. So we report, I report on mostly just small celebrations that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also report on just local news topics. Like I'll try to highlight people within my community who do really
Mm-hmm.
good things. So I've interviewed our first Black valedictorian, Sean Tinsley, where he
Dope.
graduated part of my high school class in 2023 for Belleville High School.
Dope. Uh-huh.
I've also interviewed his brother Shane Tinsley, where he was the first Black what? How do you say it? Salutatorian
So
for
the
his class
salutatorian. Mm-hmm.
2020.
Yeah.
And we have a really great athletic program out here. Like we have a lot of good athletes. So I had interviewed this young girl. She's a freshman. She was a freshman this past school year.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Miranda Phelps, and she had won state champions for swimming. So
Oh.
we have a lot of talent out here.
Is it just a coincidence that her last name is Phelps and she just won a championship for swimming? That is hilarious. I like that connection. I don't know. That just stood out to me.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, so I try to cover and I try to
Yeah,
break it up into different segments. So
that's dope.
we have a lot of different holiday festivals here. So
Yeah.
I'll try to do like a Black History Month segment, and that's what they were all part of since they're like young Black talent here. And then I'll have segments for like Thanksgiving and
Hmm.
Christmas. It'll be like giving back to the Ville because that's our little nickname for the city.
So
So
do you do on site reporting?
yes.
Okay.
So what I do is I'll drive to a location, I'll set up an interview with somebody, and I'll go there to their event, and I'll talk to them for a little bit, and then I get footage, and then I turn it into a news package.
Got you. Got you. A news package. What is that? What is that? What is the what's all in the news package, I should say.
For me, generally, we have a stand-in, which is basically just your intro and outro.
Okay.
Then after that, I'll go straight to whoever I'm going to talk to. I'll show them, or I might do a voiceover where I kind of introduce them and explain the topic into more detail, and then I might show them. So then from there, I might interview a couple of other people. Like I'll start off maybe talking to the person who's running the event or who has the most authority on the topic.
Yeah.
Then I'll switch over to more of the locals, and then I'll show what's happening, and then from there I'll just do a outro, and then I'll talk about my next topic. Kind of tune out of it.
All right. I mean, it sounds dope to me. So, what is it, if you could, because I like to ask all of our guests, if you could give the next up and coming writer or journalist a piece of advice just from what you've experienced so far in your journey, what would it be?
I think for me, definitely start on your own. Like, don't try to wait until your school offers you a journalism program
Mhm.
or maybe you get offered it through an internship. Because, one, the job market being rough, it's more hard to come across internships, especially in journalism, because we see a lot of newsrooms shutting down.
Yeah.
And journalism, it's not that it's not popular anymore because a lot of people still want to go into the field. It's just becoming more competitive because
Hmm. Hmm.
journalists, reporters don't have as much respect anymore as they did before.
Hmm.
And also, I would say just stay consistent because, like, you have to try to, even if you can't do it weekly or even monthly, you have to have a schedule that you stick to, and you have to
Hmm.
like actually stay to it and have like a plan. Like, what types of stories do you want to do? Have a niche,
Yeah.
and
I,
generally
yeah,
try to have like a traditional formula that you follow. And you don't have to always do it exactly the same every time, but
right.
just something to create like an audience so they'll know what to expect out of you. So I would say if it's the three keys, start. Don't wait for someone else to tell you to start.
Hmm.
Take initiative to start it on your own, whatever you want to do. Be consistent with it,
Hmm.
and then develop a brand, basically in marketing. Like, how do you want to do it, and stick to that.
Sounds like, I mean, that sounds like three dope gems I think everybody should take
Mhm.
heed to that's interested.
It's
Um,
not just journalism. I think that just applies to life.
I look, that's what I'm saying. That could be applied to anything for anybody. So that's definitely something, and that's dope that you have already kind of picked up on that so early on. Um, how do you think? Let me refresh this. With the type of, I don't even know if you would call it journalism. I just call it gossip sites, right? How do you, someone who sounds like you just want to report on factual events or real life events, real things that are going on in our community, how do you kind of, I don't know if compete is the word, but how do you stand up against that gossip foolishness that everybody flocks to? We love the drama, right?
Yeah, I'm
Just
guilty of
like
watching it. So yeah, but I think you asked me that question perfectly. And I think the way, I guess, like you said, kind of compete or stand out against it is
yeah.
I try to do something that most people don't do. Because
Mm.
for me, originally, as this might sound surprising because I've been doing this for a year and I'm starting to get more recognition from News with Naya. Like I've been being interviewed by you now. But to be honest, I really didn't want to start a podcast at first. And the
Oh.
reason I didn't is because I was thinking like what you said about just stereotypes of it, like gossip, drama,
Mm-hmm.
and I was especially thinking about like red pill content and men who do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because funnily enough, my dad, he would always say like, "Oh, we should start a podcast," or particularly to me, like, "You should start a podcast," because I've always been social, and I was be
Mm-hmm.
like, "No, I don't want to do that," because when I think of podcasts, I just think of like middle-aged men. About what they think women should be doing it and not doing it.
Well, I'm glad you did though. I'm glad you decided though to start it anyway. Because it's nice to have that our younger people,
Yeah.
right, coming in to give factual good information, right? And not just the foolishness,
But
as
I
I keep
basically
saying.
just realized kind of on my own, like, well, I don't have to do it like that. I can do it differently. And it was really my dad that gave me the idea to do like local news because he knew I wanted to be a news reporter.
Yeah.
Also, like Logan Lanier on CBS Detroit, he's the news producer there, and April Morton from
Okay.
Local 4 because they're a part of the same association as me. Like at one
Okay.
of my first events, like especially April Morton, she was just telling me like, "Oh, well, you're young, you're growing up during the digital age. Just pick up
Yep.
your phone and start reporting on the types of stories you want to report on."
Yep.
This was maybe like February of 2020, last year, 2025. So
Mm-hmm.
I just thought about it, and then I would say maybe around March of last year because my birthday is in April. I'm an
Mm-hmm.
Aries, so my dad, he just came in my room. He just woke me up, bro, and he's just like, I have an idea, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And he just waited until I was like awake or whatever, and then he told me like, well, why don't you just start a podcast where you report on local news around here? And I was
Yeah.
just thinking, oh, I didn't think about it like that. Like I didn't realize podcasts could be done like that because I've never really seen it before. Not
Right.
saying it doesn't exist because now that I've started it, I've seen other people like in Ohio or like our neighbors in the Midwest where they do local news,
Yeah.
which I try to connect with them too.
Yeah. You just haven't seen it here though, or where you
Seen
are.
it here where I am,
Yeah.
or like anyone doing any broadcasting thing.
Right.
So we basically we started out really simple. We bought myself a tripod, just some standard mics, like them lav mics, and they were pretty cheap ones too. There wasn't anything too much, and we just bought some basic equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had we the first thing I ever covered it was this event at our local museum called Sincerely Yours.
Mm-hmm.
It was just where they gone to our library and they found like an archives of old letters from people that used to live here, and they just read them out loud to everybody. And I was thinking like, oh, that sounds very newsworthy. So I just went up there one day when I got off work, and I just asked them like, can I come to your event? And I explained to them my whole idea.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how they would react to it, but they were pretty happy about it, and I did it.
Good.
That was my first story. So then from there, I kind of realized like, okay, I could do things, I can do it differently.
Yeah, you can do it differently. Well, congratulations to you on your journalist your journey to being a journalist, to being a broadcaster. I can tell you have the personality for it. You
Thank
already have
you.
the voice for it. I can hear it. I hear it as you speak it. I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely can see her on channel 7. Like
Yeah.
you like I can see that. So that's dope. Congratulations again.
Thank
How
you.
can everybody follow you on social media and stay connected with you?
I would say the best way to stay connected with me would probably be on my Instagram because that's where I'm the most active and have the most following. So
Mhm.
my Instagram is just news with Naya like on the screen, but it's all in lowercase. And it's a couple of other news with Naya's. So you would have to put news with Naya local Belleville or just put news with Naya Belleville and then it will take you straight to it. But also I have a Facebook account, which is pretty
Mhm.
active because here in Belleville, we have a lot of different Facebook groups because we're a small community, and that's really how we share most of our news. So
Okay.
I will say Instagram, Facebook. I have a YouTube. I have a TikTok too.
Mhm.
I have a LinkedIn. Those last three are not as popular as my Facebook and Instagram because that's kind
Mhm.
of just what my community is leans more towards using.
Yeah.
But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. No, I'm sorry, LinkedIn. Those are pretty much the five things.
And all of those are news with Naya.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Or you could just type up on Google Ania Felder and it will just take you to each of the different ones if that makes it easier.
All right.
But my name is the same on everything. So
Good. We love to hear it. Well, I hope you guys been listening. I hope you've been tuning in. I want y'all to tune in to News with Naya. Go to her platforms, go to her social medias, just see what she's about, see what she's talking about. Learn something. Maybe go visit Belleville. You know what I'm saying? Just support
yeah,
her.
I
But
love
support
that.
they obviously they got a lot going on that we need to know about. Let's go show our support. Support her in her journey as well. You got somebody here who wants to give you guys live, real, authentic information, right? And wants to keep you informed. So tune in. If you can tune in to the foolery, you can tune in to something real. That's just what it is. But thank you again for being on our show.
Thank you
Make
so much for having me.
You're welcome. You are welcome. Everybody, make sure you guys still stay tuned in to Total Entertainment Radio. Follow us on Facebook, Total Entertainment Radio. Check out the station, TotalENTRadio.com. I got to plug Making the Mogul. If you have not watched our reality show, Making the Mogul Season 1, that highlights dope, talented, gifted entrepreneurs here and throughout the city of Detroit, you are slacking, yo. You are slacking. You need to, if you got a Roku channel, you can download it, Mustard Seed Productions, on your TV, on your Roku TV, and you'll see all the episodes there. Or go to the website, www.totalentradio.com. Hit the Making the Mogul button, and you'll see all the episodes. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you today. Until next time, I'm your girl, Miss Kayla, and we are signing out.